Yeah, I had a few more people. I just started broadcasting it, Ruben, so we'll see. We're testing out, David, we're testing out a few different ways to record these mock presentation sessions and these interview calls so that someone that couldn't be on the call can actually watch it later.
Okay.
So that's what we're attempting to do right now.
And then the other thing was, oh, so I tried to use the call-in phone number and it doesn't work.
Well, that didn't work.
Yeah. It
Huh.
just puts you just hear
Yeah, I
music.
had a few more people. I just started broadcasting it, Ruben, so
And I see you
we're
now.
testing out, David. We're testing out a few different ways to record these mock presentation sessions and these interview calls so that someone that couldn't be on the call can actually watch it later. So, Ruben, you're good. It's a minute behind right now.
And then the other thing was, oh, so I tried to use the call-in phone number and it doesn't work.
Well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Huh.
It just puts you just hear
Yeah,
music.
I had a few more people. I just started broadcasting it, Ruben, so
And I see you
we're
now.
testing out, David. We're testing out a few different ways to record these mock presentation sessions and these interview calls so that someone that couldn't be on the call can actually watch it later. So you can cancel that out, Ruben. It's a minute behind right now.
And then the other thing was, oh, so I tried to use the call-in phone number and it doesn't work.
Well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Huh.
But you just hear
Yeah,
music.
I had a few more people. I just started broadcasting it, Ruben, so okay, let me get Ruben off of here. We're testing out a few different ways to record these mock presentation sessions and these interview calls so that someone that couldn't be on the call can actually watch it later. So you can cancel that out, Ruben. It's a minute
Okay.
right now.
Can you still see me and hear me?
Yes,
Oh, so I tried to use the
I hear both conversations going on. Okay. Can you hear me, Ruben?
Yes, and what I've done is I've stopped the YouTube so I can probably go back to it and restart it any time.
Right, so the live broadcast is 1 minute delayed.
Yeah.
So it's not live as in actual time, it's a minute
the
delayed.
blue. Yeah, the blue one.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Kelly, what that means is then, well, I guess that doesn't matter if people are just watching. I guess that doesn't matter so much.
If there's watching, there's no interaction anyway, so it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it's a minute behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'd like to start with David here since he is here.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that other people were either not able to join or they're going to let me know because I had 4 other people at RSVP they'd be able to join, and I haven't gotten any messages from anyone saying they couldn't get on. So, are you okay doing it like this, David? Even though you can't, can you
fine.
see us?
Yeah, fine.
You can see us. We just can't see you.
Right, you just see a picture of me, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. Well, thank you for your patience, David. I appreciate it. And what I wanted to do today is just go over sort of the intro to the workshops. And one of the neatest things for our workshops is in the first 60 seconds, you can capture a crowd or you can lose a crowd. And so the first 2 chapters that you've read in the Power Up Double Goal Coaching book give a lot of background about why Jim Thompson started this organization. So now we have to take that information and translate it to an audience. And I don't know about the area that you live in, but the area that I live in, no one's ever heard of Positive Coaching Alliance. So it's really crucial in those first 60 seconds that we give the audience interest in what we're talking about and a reason for being there. So what I wanted to do today, first of all, I was going to have all 8 people that are on the phone call right now introduce themselves, but that's, have you met Ruben, David? Have you 2 met each other?
Just by phone, yes.
Okay. Well, Ruben, David, Ruben. Ruben is our lead trainer out in California. And are you going to be participating in this, Ruben, or are you just watching?
I'll participate in any way you'd like me to, Kelly.
Okay, great. Well, what I'd like to do, the next part I wanted to do was just figure out, did you, David, were you able to get the PowerPoint opened and downloaded?
I didn't. I never received the link to the PowerPoint.
Okay, I sent them out again this morning, so it's okay if you didn't. I sent out I shared the link to everyone this morning, and then I sent an email with the link on Dropbox in case people weren't able to access that through Google. So one of those 2 ways, after we get off the call, if you want to just check your emails and see if you received that link to open that, that was fine. That's not a problem right now at all. What I did want to do, though, is start off basically with, we talk about the SMAC recipe a lot for good presentations, and number 5, we talk about start with a bang. So the 3 areas of that basically are broken up into number 1 your intro remarks as a trainer, as I just said, are really important to state the mission and the goal of PCA in the first 60 seconds. Number two, you want to establish your credibility as a trainer so that the people in the audience are thinking, who is this person and why do they think they know more than I do in terms of coaching? And then number three, make sure that you have an interactive exercise built in within the first 5 minutes. So that's really important. What I wanted to do, since you don't have the PowerPoint up, I can do a screen share with my PowerPoint. Let's see if we can get that so you can at least see what we're talking about here. All right, let's see. If I see it. You see the PowerPoint?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There it is. Okay, so you don't see me anymore. You see the PowerPoint, correct?
Right.
Okay. So basically, when you walk into the room, this is what's up on the screen. And the partner, that little bio that we wrote up, usually the partner would read a little bit about David Bartholomew and who is he and your background and your information and where you went to college and all that wonderful stuff. And then they say, okay, let's all give our attention to David, and then there's a round of applause. And then you have dead silence, and you have 100% captive audience for the first 60 seconds for you to give your intro. What I wanted to do, Ruben, if you don't mind, and I wanted to go back to the video here too, because I like to see you. Let me see if I can unscreen share now. Can you see me now or the PowerPoint?
You. Me,
okay. So what I wanted to do was see if each person on the call could just share what you use for your quick 60-second intro. And I don't know if you've had time to prepare that, David, but just as practice, what would you say in the first 60 seconds of a workshop? And I can share mine too, and hopefully Ruben wouldn't mind sharing his intro that he does.
Sure.
Would you mind? Would you want to start us off, Ruben, and then I can share mine too, and then maybe if David feels comfortable, he can share his?
I'll start us off. Can I do two versions, Kelly?
Sure.
They're both short, I think.
Okay.
The first one is the one I usually do. The second one, I'm gonna try to add just a little bit into it, Kelly, to make it fit what you just said a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay. So, so Kelly, thanks for that great introduction. Very happy to be here with all of you for this workshop. That word workshop, what does it mean to you all?
It means that we're going to have to participate.
Yeah, what else?
You can jump in too, David, if you want to jump in.
Okay, all right.
Usually they'll answer, well, it means we've got to do a little bit of work. I said, that's right. I'm going to have you do a little bit of work. So you're going to participate. We're going to do a little bit of work. It's going to be interactive. We're going to tap into the wisdom of the group, the experience of the whole group. And before we dive in, I want to make sure everybody has a copy of The Power of Double Goal Coaching. Raise your hand if you don't have it, and I'll have Kelly bring you a copy. We're going to refer to this book a few times during the evening, and this is your lasting resource. You're going to find this book, although it's a short read, a fast read, packed full of information that's going to help you this week with your coaching and the rest of your career with your coaching. One more business item. We've got a sign-in sheet going around. It's a clipboard if it hasn't made it to you. By the way, where is that clipboard right now? Mm-hmm. Okay, so good. It's moving around. Let's keep it moving around so everybody can get signed in by the end of the workshop. PCA does keep a searchable database of coaches who go through our training. So if anyone wants to know if you are a Double Goal Coach certified coach, they can go to our website, put in your name, and it shows that you were here at this workshop. We can only do that if you sign in. So earlier I said workshop, I said interactivity. I'm not the only one that's going to be talking. Let's hear from someone else right now. Who recognizes the name Steve Young? That's right, Steve. Kelly, what do you know about Steve Young, in a nutshell?
He was a football player for the 49ers.
Any good?
Pretty good, I would say.
Does he know about competing and winning?
I would think.
All right, Super Bowl MVP. And let's hear from Steve Young. So Kelly, that's usually how I start. Okay. And then as soon as it's over, what's the gist of Steve Young's message? And then I get into that, coaches do have a great impact. You had coaches who had the greatest, and then I get into that discussion, okay, and within 5 minutes. So So let me pause there, Kelly, to see if before I go to my second version, which will be slightly different. Do you have any questions or comments or?
No, I think that was great. I think you hit all the points. I'm curious to see what your second version is. David, do you have any comments?
What I don't think I did there in that version is I don't set the tone for why I work at why I'm behind PCA, and I don't really set the tone for why we're even here tonight.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to try to add just a little something in to set that tone. So Kelly, thank you very much for that introduction. Real happy to be here with you for the workshop tonight. As you know from my introduction, I'm a volleyball coach by profession. You guys are all football coaches. So why the heck would we have a volleyball coach talking to a bunch of football coaches? Well, I'm not here to teach you how to run the veer offense or how to teach people how to block and tackle. We're here to kick around some ideas and explore how to give our kids the best possible experience this season. How many of you want to give your kids a great experience? Okay, it's unanimous. I see all hands going up. That's what this is about tonight. Helping each other position ourselves to give our kids the best possible experience we can this season. So I mentioned the word workshop already. What does the word workshop mean to you? Okay, so Kelly, then the rest would be the same.
Okay. All right.
There you have it.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, mine's a little different, and I think I have a few different versions of it as well, depending on the crowd, the size of the crowd, the people that are there. But I'll give you my little quick intro that I do. All right, thank you all for coming tonight. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. I know we're all very, very busy, and you're all here because you are great coaches. And how many of you in the audience have ever heard of the Positive Coaching Alliance at all? Anyone ever heard of it? Okay. Those of you that have not heard of it, when you were told that you had to come to a Positive Coaching Alliance workshop tonight, what was the first thought that came into your head? What did you think this was going to be about? And no filters. You can tell me exactly from the heart. What did you really think this was going to be about?
Being positive with the kids.
Okay, being positive with the kids. That's a good point. What is a coach that's being positive? What does that coach look like? A coach that's being positive with the kids. What might you see?
I would say they're having fun, they're smiling, they're laughing, they're enjoying the experience.
Okay, great. And David, what do the kids look like that are being coached by a positive coach?
They're smiling, they're happy, they're excited to be there.
All right. Now, let me see a show of hands. How many of you coaches have kids that look like that every single minute of every practice and every game? Anybody have kids that look like that all the time? Okay, a couple of you do. That's fantastic. I know from my experience when I was coaching, I wanted that. I wanted kids to be excited and enthusiastic and happy for every drill and everything I asked them to do, but sometimes they weren't. And for me, I was a young coach right out of college. Of course, who did I blame that on? Whose fault was that these kids were not happy every day? Do you think? I blamed it on.
The kids.
I blamed it on the kids. Who else did I blame it on?
Parents.
The parents, of course. What I didn't do was think about the way I was coaching. And I never really thought about the fact that the way I coach has a huge influence and a major impact on the kids. And I thought that I was a very positive person. Yet I found the kids that I was coaching weren't always happy to be there. They were unmotivated. They were grumpy. They were sort of picking on each other sometimes. I could have the most wonderful practice plan ever, and I would start, and I wouldn't have 100% involvement and participation. For me, that was frustrating until I heard about the Positive Coaching Alliance, and I sat where you were, and I came to a workshop, and sitting in the front row with my arms crossed thinking, oh, here we go again. Here is going to be another talk about how everybody's a winner, everybody gets a trophy, because to be honest, I was a very competitive athlete. I played D1, 2 different sports at a Division I university, and when I got out of college and I started teaching in the elementary program, elementary school, I found that it was kind of taboo to have losers in games. In gym class, they weren't even allowed to play dodgeball anymore. So my critique was that these kids were not learning how to compete because they weren't learning how to lose. Everybody had to be a winner all the time, and that concerned me. So when I sat where you were with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder and heard that this was a Positive Coaching Alliance workshop, I didn't really want to hear it. I wanted to hear about competition and about winning. And one of the first things that was said to me in this workshop was, how many of you like to win? So I'm going to ask you, how many of you like to win? I mean, really, how many of you really like to win? Yeah, if I told you that you were just hired to be a coach of a team of just participants, of kids that really didn't want to win, how excited would you be about that job? Not so much. But if I told you that the goal of every child, every athlete, every parent, and every coach out there is to win, how many of you would get excited about that? Yeah, a lot of you would. So what if I told you that there are some things we can do as coaches to make winning happen more often and to be more successful on the scoreboard? And the way to do that is by focusing on things that you probably don't give a lot of your practice time thinking about. Maybe some of you do. And this is a workshop, so I'm going to ask you to share. You are some of my greatest resources. I have never coached football. I have never coached baseball. So you coaches in the room are a huge think tank of resources for me. And we're going to do a lot of sharing today. We're going to do a lot of laughing. We're going to do a lot of ideas. I want you to really make this real to your team. So I thank you for your attention, and let's get started. So that's sort of my introduction that I do. If the group is smaller, immediately what I have them do is I have them get up. And I say right off the bat before we even start, I would like everybody in this room to stand up, and I'd like you to put yourselves in order around the room. If you've been coaching for 0 years, you're going to be on the left-hand side of the room, and you're going to make sort of a horseshoe shape around the room. If you've been coaching for 5 to 10 years, you're going to be in that direction. 10 to 15 years over here, and those of you that have been coaching for 20 years or more are going to be over here. And then what I'm going to do is ask you to turn to the person next to you, and I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself to them. And I want you to tell them one of your greatest challenges in coaching this season. So that's another way that I started too. I get them up out of their seats and talking. Then when I have a few of them share, I have them go around the room and introduce themselves. If it's a room of about 20 to 30 coaches, I'll have them introduce themselves and say, my name is Kelly, I coach youth lacrosse. My name is Jim, I coach 8 and under baseball or whatever. Then while they're standing, I will give that little intro that I just said to all of you. And then the next thing that I'll do is I will play, there's a video from Steve Young, and I will play that while they're all still standing. I'll have them watch that Steve Young video. And then the next activity goes into the slide, and David, you don't have it in front of you, but the next slide has them think about who was their most influential coach. So I throw that question out there, and I ask them to partner up with somebody across the room from them that they've never met before, and take 2 minutes to talk about their most influential coach. And that's my 5-minute introduction to the workshop right there. Any questions on that?
Kelly, not really questions, but just a couple comments. First of all, you disappeared. Your picture's there, but the live, the live video of you isn't there anymore. I don't know why.
Am I back?
Yeah, it might be a streaming issue, probably.
Am I back now?
No, it's just your photo.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, you come
now you're back. Now you're back.
So that whole time I was talking, I wasn't there?
No, you weren't there.
Oh, okay.
I saw you the whole time.
You saw me the whole time?
So yeah, it could be a streaming on your bandwidth. I don't know.
Okay.
It works, so I got
maybe that's what it is. Regarding introductions of participants, I want to caution. I find that if you have more than 10 or 12, that getting everybody, if you go around the room having folks introduce themselves, that can really suck up time. And even when you say, just tell us your name and the sport you coach, 2 or 3 people will tell you more than that. So, the horseshoe, by years of experience, and turn to somebody and introduce yourself, that's to me is pretty safe. It's not going to take very long. But I know the trainer notes say that if it's a small group, you might go around and have them introduce themselves to each other. I would caution, I would only do that if it's a real small group. Okay,
that's a good point. The only other thing that I've done too in a larger group is have them stand or raise their hand. If it's a youth, like all Little League, I would say, okay, all of my U8 coaches, can you please stand up and raise your hand? Or all my U15 coaches, or if it's a mixed group of coaches, I would say, okay, where are my football coaches or my baseball coaches? That way, so for a trainer, for me, I like to know who I'm speaking to. So the introductions are really helpful for me as well, so that if I have one person that says, wow, I've been coaching for 35 years and I have a question, I can literally direct the question to that person and say, wow, I'd love to hear from a coach that's been coaching for 30 years in a sport I've never played. Can you please share your input on this?
Yeah,
So
I think it's
I really
awesome.
do it from a presenter point of view. It helps me.
Absolutely. I think demonstrating to the group and you yourself finding out where's the experience here and how much.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's super helpful, and it can lead you. It can set the tone for your whatever you're going to say about this being a workshop and not a lecture.
Yeah.
Wow, look at this. If we added here, we've got 4 coaches coaching for the first time, and we've got coaches that have coached 3 and 5 and 6 and 20 years. We add that up. That's a lot of years of coaching experience. We want to tap into that.
Yeah.
And really make this interactive. I can see it helping with setting the tone for the workshop.
Yeah. I agree with your caution that it can get out of control, but I have cut people off before that just start talking, and I said, I'm sorry, I'd love to get to that if we have time, but for right now, I always say name, rank, and serial number is all I'm looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, David, would you want to try out to share your your intro story? Do you
Yeah. A couple of things. I just want to share one thing. I just got back last week. I was in Phoenix, Arizona, and we had a big conference for the company I work for. And one of the things I did is for the first time, I hired a sales trainer for our resellers, and this was an outside company. And I work for a predominantly male company, and they sent us a woman, and everyone was a little nervous. But you guys touched upon the 3 things, but I was waiting for the 3rd thing, because what she did and how she grabbed everybody's attention was exactly what you said. She started out with a bang. It was amazing, because first of all, she told us why she was there, which I was waiting to hear about, PCA, and I heard stuff about, getting your kids a great experience. Secondly, she talked about her experience not only as a sales trainer, but more importantly as a salesperson. And then the 3rd thing, and then I was waiting for this, and this is what hopefully I'm looking for, is then she had an exercise where, obviously it was a 2-day thing, so we had a lot of time, where it got everybody involved. And it was a game about communications, and the problem was there was no right answer, or the answer was very wrong, whatever. But after that, the tone of the seminar was amazing. I mean, she had everybody hooked, she had everything going like this. So I guess what I want to hear is what you guys recommend for that 3rd thing, how to get them engaged, because you did mention that. Those are the 3 things you mentioned, and so and get them engaged. So what I was thinking would be, again, thank you for coming. I'm really excited to be here because I have something amazing to show you. Steve Jobs always used to talk like that, and so that's when I give my talk. So I have something. I'm really excited to be here, and I have something amazing to show you. And then we go into some sort of Socratic kind of comment, like, how many of you guys here want to find better ways of winning? And then I would say, not only that, we're here to go ahead and share some ways of not only finding ways to win, but also combine that by giving your kids a great experience. How many people would be really interested if we can go ahead and show you those 2 things? And so then I would go into talking about my experience, that I've been coaching youth sports for over 10 years. Started with my kids, moved into high school level, and currently I'm coaching basketball at the high school level. So I have a lot of experience to share with you today. And then I would try and go into some sort of way to get them interactive, whatever you guys recommend at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is the key, and that's one of the reasons too that I have them get up out of their seats almost immediately to do even just introductions and to be in the workshop. What I find more often than not, in my area anyway, on the East Coast, most of these workshops are in the evenings, and most of the people have been sitting all day at work. So when they come in and they finally sit, everybody looks a little bit disgruntled. So I like to get them up and moving as soon as I can, and talking with each other and mixing with people in the room. And then after the quick introduction part, the next slide that talks about the most influential coach you ever had, that's a really great way to get the group mixing and interacting with each other, and really thinking about, because the slide says who is the most, and I'll show it to you actually. I can do a little screen share here and show it to you. right here. No, I don't see where it is. I lost it. Okay, sorry about that. I don't want to mess you up. I want to do it quick. But it says, who is the most influential coach in your life, and then why, and how do you want to be remembered? So it's a time for them to share with each other, but then it's also a time to do some self-reflection, and that's a really powerful way, too, to get people up and engaged. Now, I think what you're talking about, what your speaker did by having it sort of kind of be like a communication game, I love that idea. I would love to hear more about that and what happened, but I think we have to be careful for what Ruben was talking about, too.
About time. No, I know we couldn't do
Right.
that.
Yeah, it's really, it's a lot of information in a short amount of time. So
Exactly.
my rule of thumb is to keep, I split my workshop up into 4 different sections. There's an intro, there's principle 1, principle 2, principle 3, and then I should say 5 sections, and then a closing. So as long as I have some type of interactive activity during each one of those sections, I consider it an interactive workshop. And I do something different for each one of those principles, a different way to get the audience engaged. Not necessarily always turn to a partner and talk, but sometimes it's, get everybody stand up, pretend you're my team on the bench, and I want you to drain my tank when we miss that shot. Something that gets them up and moving and kind of laughing. So over the course of a 90-minute workshop, they've been up and interacting at least 5 times. And sharing and things like that. So that's just a rule of thumb that I use. Ruben, I don't know if you want to speak on that one.
Yeah, same guidelines. I think if the trainer talks for more than 2 minutes without another voice in the room being heard, that's problematic. I think, Dave, about the question of which coach in your life had the greatest impact. That is a very stimulating question for coaches, and people usually love talking about that person. It was whether it was a positive impact or a negative impact. They get animated and passionate, and it really gets people to talk, especially if the first time they are asked to speak, they only have to talk to one other person. I'm a big believer that the first time you have people talk in the workshop, it should be in pairs to one other person, and it's a conversation between 2 people. You follow that up, perhaps, by saying, anybody willing to share with the whole group the coach that you talked about? And then those who want to speak up in front of the group and get that part started can, and those who aren't ready to do that, they can wait until they realize, oh, this is a safe environment. Kelly's not going to tell me I'm right or I'm wrong. Kelly rewards and praises people who participate. She thanks us. So that's one thing I would do. The very first time I have people talk, I have them talk to one other person, not the whole group. Then here's another thing. I think that it is very easy to talk for the first 5 minutes of the workshop or 7 minutes of the workshop, or it's very easy to do that. There's a lot you can tell them in the first, but so one way to make sure you don't, and I've seen trainers do this, is thanks for that introduction. When I say go, I want you to turn someone near to you, and I want you to discuss with each other the kind of impact you want to have on your players this season. Go. So within the first 10 seconds, I haven't talked about me, I haven't talked about PCA, I haven't talked about the weather. I've immediately delivered on the promise that I'm going to make, which is this is your workshop. It's interactive. It's you talking to each other. I'm here to facilitate. Yes, I have some coaching experience, and I'm going to share with you a couple things from my coaching experience, but I am a facilitator and I'm a messenger. You want to know how Ruben Nieves coaches, or do you want to know how Phil Jackson won 11 NBA championships? Do you want to know how Ruben handled his players, or you want to know how Bruce Bochy coaches his San Francisco Giants? So and David, I think that's important in your case, because if I heard correctly, you said that you have 10 years of youth sports coaching experience.
Right.
Right? So sometimes you're going to be at a workshop and you're going to be delivering a workshop to coaches who have 20 years of coaching experience. And 15 of those years is with the high school team and the junior national team and this and that. Well, you know, people have a natural tendency to go, I'm not a youth sports coach. I'm the high school freshman coach. We're big time here. This isn't, you know. And so I think there's times when you position yourself as the messenger and you're sharing great ideas from great coaches around the country. That's what you're here to do. And you're bringing out best practices of the group that you're in front of. See how easy it is to talk for 5 minutes?
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's great too. And one of the things that, you know, I didn't mention in my intro, which Ruben already did, so I didn't want to be repetitive, but is definitely right off the bat using the book as a resource for the people to use. Our workshops for years consisted of a workbook that had people actually writing fill-in-the-blank answers. And since we got away from that, I think sometimes the book just ends up being something that sits in their lap and they don't use it. But and I always make sure I say right away that this book is a great resource for you, and I'm not going to read the whole book to you. I'm going to give you some highlights. I always joke around with them that, you know, I'd love for you to promise me that you'll go home and read this book cover to cover, and if you would, we could just walk out of here and this workshop could be over. But I think it's really important. So I point to the different blank pages in the book, and one of the things, as Ruben says, he said in 10 seconds, what impact would you like you to have on your players? What I do when I ask them after they answer that question of who was the most influential coach in your life and how do you want to be remembered, that's my transition. I have them think about that for a minute while they're standing up, and then I have them go back to their seats and actually write down one sentence on the front blank page in their book. Again, people are different learners. Some are auditory, some are visual, some need the hands-on. So this is a way, right away I have everybody going back to their seat and they write one sentence in their book. It's something concrete. And then I point them back to that later on throughout the workshop. When we're talking about e-tanks and when we're talking about mastery and we're talking about honoring the game, I'll have them go back and look at that description that they put, that little quick summary that they put on there, and sit and ask yourself that question. Were you that kind of a coach today? Were you the kind of coach that you wanted to be? So that's something that I think is really valuable as well. And it also is an easy transition from people being up and around to, you know, moving over. Questions on that?
No. Good. No, I got a lot of good things. Thanks.
Okay.
I got a page full of stuff.
Is there somebody up there, Kelly? Is there someone on your ceiling? Is there?
No, it's my husband trying to talk to me. He's taller than I am. He's up there trying to use sign language. It wasn't working. All right. Well, for me, I mean, that was really the goal today. I did want to go through the PowerPoint, and I was trying to pull it up as a screen share, and it doesn't. I can't seem to get it because I didn't.
You had it for a while. You had that title slide up there for us.
I did, and now I'm going to screen share, and it's not showing me the screen share that I want to share. Maybe I can here. Let me try this again.
Now we see your screen.
Is it in reverse? Because on my end, it's in reverse.
Well, it disappeared again, but for a moment there, I saw a glimpse. Now I see your screen, and the PowerPoint isn't open, but I can see your choices there. You got new trainer course.
Okay, let me see.
And where would I find? I have my email open up in a second window here, and I still can't find the PowerPoint.
Okay. You didn't get an email recently that just shared it with you? I just sent it right before this call.
No, I haven't gotten an email.
Kelly, do you know if you CC'd me on that email?
I thought I did. I sent it to the whole course. I can try. I sent two emails. I sent one with the Dropbox link and one with the Google Drive share link. Can you see that now? Is that PowerPoint open now?
Well, the PowerPoint isn't open, but I see your screen.
Okay, because I have the PowerPoint open now, and I thought that would be the screen share. Okay.
What I see is your new trainer course folder.
Right, and that's what I was trying to get that to.
But I don't see the actual PowerPoint opened up.
Okay. I thought I'd be able to use that folder, and it wasn't working.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm looking for that email too. that if it was sent right before the call, let's see, Google Calendar. I got 2 emails from you at 8:55. One was inviting me to a group conversation.
Right.
And then the second one was the incoming video call.
Okay.
From you. But I did not get an email about the PowerPoint.
Okay. I'll send that again when we get off. I'm not sure why that didn't go through. Because that is important. I want to make sure that everybody has that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what you're doing, Kelly, is you're sending a link to the PowerPoint. You're not actually sending them the PowerPoint document.
Right. I tried to send the PowerPoint document, and Google Drive said that it was too big to attach.
Yeah.
So I had to send the link to it. So
yeah.
That's what I did. I think the issue might be because it's an abridged version. The abridged version of the group is, I have it set up so it's only sending everyone 1 email a day with the summary of all the activity that's gone on throughout the day. So I think that could be the problem. So when I'm sending emails out, they're not even, they're compressing those too and not sending those out until the end of the day as well. So I have to figure out a different way to send the links. I'll figure it out. I just have to do that after this call. So, okay. Well, you know what, David, what I might do then is I'll hold off on because next week's call is going to be getting into the first principle, the Elm Tree of Mastery. So for that call, I will go through the intro slides. There's not very many of them. But we'll just start the slideshow from there so that you can have the PowerPoint open in front of you. I don't want to be, talking about it without it there in front of you. So we'll do that on next week's call as well. Did you have any questions for now?
No, I didn't, no.
Okay. Everything else with the course seemed to be easily accessible, and do you feel like you're getting a chance to interact as much with the group? Or
Yeah, definitely. I like to hang out
okay.
a lot better than the phone.
Okay, great.
Problem is that I have basketball practice at 5 o'clock all week in the summer.
Yeah.
So this is the only time I can do it is during the day one.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And what I've done in the past, the course does go throughout the summer. So if, like the last course that we did, we used to do the calls on Friday, and I had a few people that said, Friday wasn't working, but, Thursday would be better. So that's why I switched it to Thursday. So it's really a group consensus, whatever, if the group seems to, I can't please everybody across the country, obviously, in all different time zones. So that's something that I've had to finagle the times a little bit, but I haven't heard anything from other people saying another time works better for them. So we're going to continue with this this and Monday evening until I hear otherwise, if that works.
It was fine with me. So.
Okay. Well, great. Well, I'm gonna end the call a little bit early here, unless you have anything else. I appreciate you joining. Sorry you were the only one on the call, but hopefully it wasn't a technical glitch on that end as well. Ruben, did you have anything else?
No, I just want to thank David for his his work, his participation. And Kelly, can you and I stay on for a couple minutes just to talk
Sure.
a little bit about the logistics of the technology here? I just want to learn more about it.
Sure, no problem.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks, David.
Thank you, David. Yeah. So Kelly, what I was wondering is,
Do you want me to keep this broadcasting live, or I can stop the broadcast and we can keep talking?
I think you can stop the broadcast.
Okay. Now this, let me see. I stopped it.